Blunt Talk with LT, episode 60. This episode is brought to you by StackWap.com. Let's get into it. We're going to jump right into it today. Happy New Year, first and foremost. 2020, we made it. Blunt Talk with LT, we grew over the year 2019. Started 2 years ago now. But I lacked direction the first year. Really lacked direction. Didn't have the marketing right. I wasn't building the right platforms in the right areas the right way. It took some time and a lot of learning to kind of get this shit underway. But now we're actually here. We have a better platform. We have a better setup. We have more direction with the show. And we're just going to continue going forward for the future. So 2020 is like a new year, new success shit. I hate that new year, new me shit. But this is just moving forward. So new year's, new success. None of that negative shit. Like, I'm not going to sprinkle negativity on, that New Year's resolution shit with people trying to be more progressive, positive, or, whatever to try to better their life for the new year. So I'm in support with all these resolutions and all this new year, new success shit because that's the direction I'm trying to go. I feel like I'm going to be doing a lot more entertainment wise, a lot more videos, a lot more vlogs, a lot more music related shit. But at the end of the day, the podcast is always going to remain the podcast. And the podcast is going to be at least 2-3 episodes weekly. That's full episodes. So tons of clips, tons of new discussions. A lot more guests this year because now the channel's growing, about to hit monetization, and when you hit monetization, I can actually take this shit more seriously, and I already take it seriously, but what time wise I could actually make this shit full time. So working towards that, pretty much almost there. The 2020 is going to be a wild year for Blunt Talk with LT. Lathan recently said on his podcast, one of his episodes, that he was most likely going to stop his podcast because he has new opportunities for 2020 and possibly back on TV and new deals or whatnot. I think regardless of what the hell you do, new deals, whatever, even if it's a TV thing, I don't think you should stop your own podcast. I feel like maybe he just, I don't know. I don't know too much of the inside information to the infrastructure of his podcast and how he can continue it, or what's going on with his new deals or what he's going to disclose. But at the end of the day, I don't think I need to know the particulars when it comes to that to say that you should always have your own, or you should keep your own podcast. You should see the worth in your podcast because it may not be worth as much initially, or even when you think you're on, it's not making as much money. But this is a growing space, I feel. I feel like we're early in the podcasting world. Yeah, Joe Rogan has talked 10,000 motherfuckers into doing podcasts, so everybody has a podcast. But at the same time, we're early into this shit. We don't know what can happen to the top podcasts and how far this shit can go. So, I don't know. Regardless of what I'm doing, the podcast is going to remain. That's not something that's going to come to an end, so you don't have to worry about that shit. So, subscribe if you're not subscribed. But, yeah, the podcast is going to remain. And 2020 is going to be a new year for new success. All right, we're going to get into it. None of this fucking boring-ass talk for too long. We're going to get into the fuck shit. Rich the Kid. Okay, so Rich the Kid proposed to Tori Brixx, sorry. And it didn't go... It went well, but did it really? Like, she said yes... Okay, let me play the video. She kind of said yes, but not really. It looks super reluctant to... Okay, let's see this shit. All right. There we go.
Oh, baby, I love you so much. I cannot wait any longer.
Look at her face. Like, what? I don't know, man. Still didn't say yes.
We need your official answer out loud. You say yes?
You even have to ask. Did you say yes? Like, that's how you know. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe because they have colored history and all sorts of, fuck shit with their past. So, that's a sticky one. I know if I proposed and my woman had that type of reaction, I would instantly know something's not right here. Like, I fucked up something along the line and she ain't with it. She's just reluctantly saying yes, but something's a little off here with them ones. Well, there is all, sorts of domestic violence and all sorts of shit reported in the past of their relationship. So it's not surprising that everything is like weird and not that smooth when it comes to something like an engagement or a proposal of that type. But all right, that's all I gotta say about that shit. We got a lot of shit to squeeze in this fucking episode, but we gonna get it done. Gunna basically was exposed for snitching in some video dropped by Tech. I don't know. It seems like in this video he's giving details of some shit to this guy. I don't actually know what's going on here or the details, but everyone's calling him a rat. Sadly though, because there's a lot of Gunna fans very disappointed by this shit. For me, I listen to Gunna, so I'm like, fuck, what the fuck's going on? Like, not another one. Like, don't be fucking 6ix9ine with this filth. Like, nah, man, not Gunna too. So I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know too much about this video or what the details behind this video are, but I don't know. I gotta look into it a little bit more to find out the details of the video of what the hell he was saying and who he was saying it to, and but I don't know. It's out there. People are talking about it. It's a topic of discussion. So he might, but this era, man, a lot of people kind of have their moments of weird snitching, and it kind of gets forgiven or forgotten and kind of brushed over. I'm not going to bring up a lot of these rappers that, mainstream big headline rappers that have the snitching allegations on them from the past. But at the end of the day, it's like, it seems like it's too common nowadays where people kind of get away with it. That's why people say when 6ix9ine gets out, he's at, like in July, he's going to be the biggest star. And people aren't going to give a fuck, and he's going to come back out with that fuck shit and be like, you would have snitched too, stupid, and do it. People are pretty much saying that that's what's going to go on. And it's almost like people are rooting for 6ix9ine. It's like they don't care that he snitched. They're kind of just like, fuck it. When he comes out, if nobody cares, I'm not going to care. That's the type of attitude motherfuckers is having right with 6ix9ine right now. They're like, if you don't care and everybody's listening to it, then I'm kind of doing. They're probably like, people are talking. They're debating if they're gonna interview him still to this day. After everyone kind of said, nah, we're not gonna do it. He got his sentence, and they're like, oh, July. It's not that far from now. He could still have his buzz. People still might care. I might interview him. That's most people's fucking stance. That's not my stance, of course, but that's what's going on right now. This game's filthy, but we already know this. The thing is, when you're in the entertainment business, like the broadcast business, the interview business, the news reporting media business, then it's filthy out here. People are doing all sorts of clickbaity shit. People will get anything to get views, headlines, and shit. So it's like getting a 6ix9ine interview. Most people will jump to that. Most people don't want to build their platform the long, hard way and actually have a show consisting of whatever the fuck topics they bring to the table and actually build it themselves the raw way. No one wants to do that. No one wants to do that shit. Everybody wants the fucking fast way to success or the fast way to everything. Shit, I wanted a fucking fast way, and I failed a bunch of times, and I realized there is no fucking fast way. You got to put in the work. So, well, the fast way for some people is getting lucky. They say getting lucky, but really and truly, it's like you have a piece of art or you have something, some sort of worth that you put out, and for some sort of reason, the world gravitates to you early, and you don't go through the grueling success stages of, trying so hard. So those people think, okay, yeah, those are quick success stories. So easy to get on. But that happens once in a fucking blue moon. Most people that you see made it successful somewhere in the entertainment business struggled for years, failed for years. And it's like, I don't know. That's just the way it goes. When you fail for years at shit like this, you learn so much, though. All right, moving on. I spent a lot of time on that shit. Lavar Ball. Okay, so Lavar Ball basically had a couple ring of interviews recently, and it's been making a lot of headlines because it's Lavar Ball. Lavar Ball says Alan Foster forged documents and will be prosecuted. So what's going on right now with Alan Foster and Lavar Ball is fucked up because they're both selling Big Baller brand merch. LeVar Ball clearly is the real owner. LeVar Ball, LaMelo, LiAngelo, Lonzo. The Ball family is the owners of the Big Baller brand. It's quite obvious. But he's trying to say that Alan Foster forged some sort of documents, which is allowing him to basically sell Big Baller brand on his website. So he's making money off of Big Baller brand right now. And I'm like, who's really buying shit off of Alan Foster? Are they getting duped? I feel like, well, he said something about when you go to Big Baller brand website or you do something, it brings you from one link from his website to Alan Foster's websites to make purchases. So there is some absolute fuck shit going on with Alan Foster and LeVar Ball for Big Baller brand in court. So there's some heavy litigation going on. I don't think it's the smartest thing to speak about these type of things if you're LeVar Ball or Alan Foster as it's going on. But them two really don't care. They're pretty vocal. Alan Foster has issued some statements. I haven't checked for them because who really gives a fuck about Alan Foster at the end of the fucking day. But nah, if I'm gonna cover the story, I check for it. I hear Alan Foster's statements, but Alan Foster's full of shit. Like I hear him and it's like goes in one ear and out the other. Man, it's just talking garbage. The media is trying to make it seem like LeVar Ball is not actively in LaMelo Ball's life because he's not in Australia with him currently. So they're like, oh, he's straying away. They're pushing away. He's doing his own thing. And LeVar Ball made sure that he made statements to say that he's still relevant in his life and he's just not in Australia. He's running around doing a lot of things from city to city, maintaining the reality show and other shit. So it's like he's just a more busy person at this moment. So he's not as able to be as active as he once was in his son's life, all three of them, because they're all different places doing different things in like different countries and shit. So LeVar Ball just made sure that he got that fucking sentiment out. And I feel like that's important because they just try to pry and try to, divide the family so much. And he grew up on that strong family. Like even I fucking came out and said LeVar Ball, but I'm not trying to separate them. I was just saying he made some mistakes along the lines when it came to Jello and LaMelo. But LaMelo's good enough to make mistakes with along your program or make things that may be looked as a mistake, probably better in the long term. But LaMelo's good enough to push through anything. He plays with grown men since he was a child. So LaMelo's good enough to, if you make mistakes, he'll still make the league. He's just that talented. LiAngelo, I felt like he was always a little overlooked, a little underappreciated because the style and the aesthetic of his game wasn't what the eye test didn't tell you, oh, this guy was a star, but the numbers consistently that he put up and the wins that he had when you had Jello on the team. So it's like, I feel like he was a little overlooked, but because he was not one of those, he was always overlooked. He wasn't a McDonald's All-American. I feel like because of that, you had to be a little more diligent and a little more wise the way you pushed LiAngelo Ball. So I feel like I criticized him on that in the past. But regardless, I'm not one of these media fucks that try to separate the Ball family. At the end of the day, we're just, reporting and giving our our perspective on, the decisions or whatever the fuck's going on. Well, for me, it's more of a fan perspective because I've always been a fan of the Ball brothers ever since I discovered them. So, yeah. All right, what do we got here? Young Buck arrested and held without bond till May. Fucked up. Held without bond. What did this guy do? Hold on, let me pull up the story. Young Buck arrested on felony warrant before Christmas, held without bond. Young Buck was picked up in Tennessee on a felony fugitive from justice warrant for child abandonment on December 20th, and he was held without bond because he's considered a felony fugitive from justice. He will be held in custody until his next court hearing on May 2020. So, damn, what the fuck? Child abandonment 2020, no bond. Yikes. That's the problem, man. When they get you once on some fuck shit in the past, or they get you a couple of times, the system keeps trying to keep you in, and it gets even harder and harder to maneuver. It's fucked up, man. The first thing people said about this story when this story dropped was young buck, milk dud head ass nigga and all sorts of shit. They're saying his head looked like a milk dud in the picture, and they're just going in on young buck. I'm like, yo, this nigga just lost his freedom. I don't know, man. I don't take that shit. I don't play with those type of jail talks too much. Like people from the outside looking in, especially a lot of people on the internet and Twitter and shit, talk about jail like jail is a friendly place. Oh, you just go to jail, nothing. Like, the way, I don't know, man. I don't like that shit. But whatever. Young Buck needs his bag been fucked up since the G-Unit days, and him trying to get back with G-Unit and beefing with 50 again. So it's like, Young Buck's life is a mess right now. I hope he gets it together. I hope he has people in his corner that help him get it together, because Young Buck at one point was one of the better artists out like a decade and a half ago, but still one of the better. Whatever. I hope Young Buck does well. I mean, it's no laughing matters. I don't like people in jail. That shit's trash. Fuck the system. What else do we got here? Oh shit, speaking about the system. Okay, so let me play this fucking video, because this cop fucked all the way up, and you could see it in this video when he realizes that he fucked up. Shit, wrong video. What do we got here? Wrong video. Talk about the ill-prepared. Here we go.
What agency you with?
I'm the state attorney.
All right. Thank you. Your tag didn't come back. Never seen that before. I'm sorry? Yeah. We're good now.
What's up now? Because the state attorney.
We ran a tag. I've never seen it before. A Florida tag. It's never come back to anything before. So that's the reason for the stop.
Yeah.
What was the tag run for?
I'm sorry?
What was the tag run for?
Oh, we run tags all the time, whether it's at traffic lights and that sort of stuff. That's how we figure out if, cars are stolen and that sort of thing. Also, the windows were really dark. I don't have a tint measure, but that's another reason for the stop.
I can tell that it's dark.
Yeah, one second. Actually, this isn't my car, but I can write my name down if you'd like.
Okay, but he doesn't have his identification card, because she said identification card, not badge number, and that's some real shit. But yeah, she went for the identification card. All of a sudden, he didn't have his. He had his employee. He had his another employee's, his coworker's identification card full of shit. Said that he couldn't see through the car tints, and car tints was like his backup excuse, because he didn't want to get caught for like profiling or something. But I could clearly see the other officer through the tints on the other side, coming up on the other side of the state attorney's car. So it's like they both kind of just swarmed her on some bullshit, and then claimed, some bullshit. And they pretty much pulled over their boss's boss, so they're fucked. Enjoy. That's what you get for profiling. You profile the wrong person sometimes, and it's gonna come back to you. I don't think that state attorney, that Florida state attorney, is gonna let that shit slide. So we're going to see where that shit goes. What else do we got here before I get out of this shit? We got the Gunna thing. We got that. Oh, yeah, Alvin Foster's still trying to sell shoes. I covered that, too. Okay, so let me get to this one before I get out of here. Godfrey. Let me talk about Godfrey real quick. Godfrey, the comedian. Many people know him. Many people don't, and that's my issue. I feel like I watch Godfrey on Vlad TV. I watch Godfrey, his podcast and shit. I watch his stand-up. I feel like he's one of the most overlooked, under-talked about comedians out there right now. And I feel like I need to make some sort of segment to put it out there to let, because I said that about Eminem. I got backlash. People were like, oh, Eminem's not overrated. People are just tired of his shit. His music didn't age well, blah, blah, blah. People were saying that shit. I got held with some backlash. I still believe he's a little bit underrated and underappreciated for his classicness or his greatness from before. He's just underappreciated. He's a legend. But let's stick to the topic. We're talking about Godfrey. Godfrey is one of the, like, for me, when I heard he never got even an audition for SNL, I'm like, that's sketch comedy. He's one of the greatest imitators or impersonators witty, quick comedian. Like for me, I'm like, how did they sleep on Godfrey for years? How was Godfrey not on SNL? How was Godfrey on nobody's list? Whenever you hear comedians talk, or the comedians congregate and get on each other's podcasts and shit, you never hear people talk about Godfrey. You never hear people talk about how great Godfrey is or how funny Godfrey is. He's like the most slept on, the most underappreciated, other than TK Kirkland. Like you never really hear these niggas give him his respect. Not even just niggas, like everybody. Every type of comedian, regardless of race. You don't really hear them. They're always dick riding each other now because that's the cool thing to do. They're bigging up each other. Cool. Stay positive. Look out for the community. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. But I don't see any appreciation for Godfrey or any recognition for Godfrey. And Godfrey is on the new age shit because a lot of these comedians start podcasts and Godfrey has his podcast. His podcast is bumping. And it's like not a lot of black comedians got to the podcast shit, but Godfrey's there. And Godfrey's doing a fucking good job. So I watch that shit a lot of times. So struggling out here. But yeah, shout out to Godfrey. Underrated comedian. I just lost my fucking fuck. Joe Budden dispelled the rumors that him and Sin are back together. They're just cordial. They had moments on his podcast recently with her coming up on stage doing the Love of Joe or whatever. Basically him being on Love and Hip Hop sparked new rumors that him and Sin were back together. There was pictures coming out from the reunion that's not going to be out for another couple of weeks or months, whatever the hell it's going to take place. But there's pictures from the reunion that came out. Everyone thought they were back together. They had that moment on stage. There was a lot of conspiracies, a lot of rumors. He pretty much came out and dispelled the rumors and said they're just cordial. They're raising a kid. They're, co-parenting. They're not at odds. They're getting along better. Love and Hip Hop helped his relationship, he said, with just them because he hasn't spoken to her since the filming of Love and Hip Hop. So that helped him kind of get back in pocket and rekindle whatever type of relationship that they needed to have for the child's well-being. So it's just co-parenting at this point. They're not back together, so anybody reporting that's kind of faking right now. But that may change, so I can't even say that. Shit happens real quick. People make moves, so you never know. But we off this. Happy New Year's, real quick episode. Yeah, Blunt Talk with LT episode 60. Yeah.